G'day Guardians, Roguey here. While Season of the Risen is all about Void 3.0, it's important to remember that our Darkness subclasses also receive some love, through the release of 3 new exotics. Omniomancy Gloves for Warlock, Hoarfrost Z Chest Piece for Titan, and my personal favourite, Renewal Grasps for Hunter. But that's not the only thing that has received some love. The Discord server that Matt and I are putting together has too. We'll be looking to run a variety of different content with members of the community, so feel free to join us. The link is in the description. To sweeten the deal, we'll also be giving away 1 Follow the Light emblem to 1 lucky Guardian who posts in the introduction channel. Winners will be drawn in a week's time. If you've played any PvP this season, then you've likely come up against a Renewal Grasps wielding hunter, whose Dustfield grenades may as well be a Warden of Dawn. It's safe to say this exotic was a touch too powerful, in PvP anyway. This recently nerfed exotic gives friendly Guardians 2 stacks of resistance while inside the radius of a Dustfield grenade. This is the same level of resistance as Protective Light, but that's not all the benefit that Dustfield provides. Alongside its usual freezing effect, our new and improved Dustfield is also sporting a larger Stasis Crystal, and a brand new effect that causes targets within Dustfield's radius to deal reduced damage. While these effects make Renewal Grasps a potent PvP exotic, after the recent nerf, we'll be focusing today's build with PVE in mind. Hunters, by design, don't have too many tools in their kit that benefit the entire Fireteam, so a damage reduction that affects everyone is a great addition. You'll be wanting to use this build in higher difficulty content to make full use of its survivability focused exotic perk. It's important to note that while Dustfield Grenade is normally a 62-second base cooldown, if you have Renewal Grasps equipped, the cooldown becomes 152 seconds. I'm honestly not a fan of blanket nerfs that affect both PvE and PvP when the problem is only present in one of these 2 modes. Bungie have already shown that they have the ability to split an effect between enemy players and regular combatants, but there is no point complaining what is already being done. With this build, you should be getting your grenade off cooldown enough for it to still be an effective source of survivability for your Fireteam. You will need to give your friends a heads up though that they do not destroy your Stasis Crystal, as doing so will deny you the enhanced regen rate. Let's start with the good stuff, Aspects and Fragments. Obviously, we want to be using Touch of Winter to additively increase our Duskfield's radius even further, but the main reason is to create a large Stasis Crystal in the center. This Stasis Crystal plays a key role in this build, giving us both an additional stack of resistance while also giving us an increased grenade regen upon being shattered. It also provides us with 2 fragment slots, which is great. For our second aspect, I like to go Grim Harvest as a reliable source of stasis shards, as they do play a vital role in this build. The best part is we get a massive 3 fragment slots when this aspect is equipped, allowing us to maximize the customization of our subclass. When combined with the Elemental Shards mod, we'll be able to turn all these stasis shards into stasis wells. Moving down to our fragments, keeping in mind we have the luxury of choosing 5, we'll start with our most important, Whisper of Shards. This friendly fragment gives us a massively increased grenade recharge rate after we shatter a Stasis Crystal. This will most likely be the Stasis Crystal created from our Duskfield, but also works off Headstone procs. Proccing Whisper of Shards is very important, as without, even at 100 discipline, our grenade recharge rate becomes very slow. The other key fragment we'll be using is Whisper of Chains, giving us 1 stack of resistance while near a frozen target or Stasis Crystal. This is where you'll need to choose between the instant proc of Whisper of Shards for quick grenade regen, or leaving the crystal up as long as possible for the extra resistance stack. Stacking with Renewal Grasps effect, standing in our Dustfield grenade is giving us a whopping 3 stacks of resistance, massively reducing any incoming damage. If our enemies are also in our Dustfield, any shots they get off before they are frozen will do laughable damage, even at Grandmaster difficulty. Whisper of Fissures gives us extra ad clearing potential when shattering either a frozen target or stasis crystal. Pretty self-explanatory. Whisper of Torment is an effortless way to further bolster the recharge rate on our Dusk field. Anytime you take damage, you get grenade energy back. What's not to love? Not to mention, we're also having our resistance stacks, so the damage, it's fine, we can handle it. The final fragment of choice is one that I looked over for a very long time, as its description is a little bit inaccurate. Whisper of Impetus reads that damaging targets with a stasis melee ability reloads your stowed weapons, which, at a glance, seems average at best. Now, there might be a typo in its description, or my understanding of the word stowed is wrong, because doing damage with a melee also reloads the weapon you are currently using, allowing you to get off an instant reload. Thanks to Withering Blade having 2 stacks, hunters can use this fragment to its fullest extent. There is a 5-second cooldown before it can proc again, but that just means you can throw in a marksman's dodge for another source of reloading, giving you enough time for Impetus to be off cooldown. Combine this with Galley for insanely high burst damage. With survivability and grenade regen taken care of, let's check out the stat distribution and combat mods. Surprise, surprise, we've maxed out our discipline stat with a secondary focus on mobility and intellect. The mods we've chosen will make good use of all the stasis shards we'll be generating, so obviously the first mod we are showing is Elemental Shards. This 2-cost stasis mod is a must-have on any stasis elemental well build, turning every stasis shard we create into a stasis well. We'll be using stasis wells for 2 different purposes throughout this build, so having a reliable source is a must. I like to run this mod on my arms as it pairs well with Grenade Kickstart, giving us grenade energy back each time we spend our grenade energy. We'll also be making use of this season's 1-cost melee well maker as a secondary source of stasis wells. If you're finding that elemental shards is more than enough for well generation, you can swap this mod out for something like Charged Up for an easy way to become charged with light. Other than that, on our chest piece, we use whichever resistance mod best fits the activity we are tackling. On to our next mod, Well of Restoration. This 4-cost stasis combat mod grants you additional energy to your least charged ability, on top of the energy that picking up a well of matching element already gives you. This has been something I've grown to really appreciate since running it in this build. With the sheer amount of available wells, nothing stays on cooldown for long. If we made the choice to swap out Melee Wellmaker for Charged Up, I'd actually add Energy Converter here, a 4-cost Void mod that spends our stacks of charge of light when throwing a grenade, refunding you a portion of your grenade energy. Keep in mind, this will not stack with Grenade Kickstarter. Next up, we'll be running the seasonal 1-cost Font of Might, giving all of our stasis weapons a 25% damage buff. This pairs incredibly well with the new Stasis SMG Forensic Nightmare, the Palmyra B rocket launcher, the classic DPS King Reed's Regret, and my personal favourite, the unique Stasis Fusion Rifle Deliverance. Running Font of Might here really helps our primary weapons pack an extra punch, increasing their effectiveness in Grandmaster level content. In any grenade focus build, I also love to use 2 of bombers on my class item to give me that extra grenade energy on dodge roll. Our final combat mod is Elemental Time Dilation. Again, a stasis mod coming in at 3 cost. The reason for having this is to combat the lockout time of elemental shards. With Time Dilation equipped, we are able to extend the duration of Font of Might's buff further beyond the 5-second cooldown that elemental shards has. This means we have ample time to reapply the Font of Might buff before it drops off. Fireteam survivability for Hunter is so far and few in between, and it's such a breath of fresh air to have something other than stealth in our arsenal. As Bungie has said in previous vid docs, Solar 3.0 will have a mixture of burn and healing, so who knows what the future of a support Hunter could look like. Healing throwing knives maybe? I'll see you in the next one.